Hi, this is the JROTC Guide channel. Today I will be giving you NJROTC General Knowledge. This goes from Chain of Command, other key names titles, the 11 General Orders to the Century, the Cadet Creed, birthdays for the Navy, Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard, mottos for the Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard, hymns for the Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. The three elements of the NJROTC patch, the United States Armed Forces enlisted personnel, as well as the rank insignia of the U.S. Armed Forces officers for the Navy and Coast Guard. Without further ado, let's begin. For Chain of Command, Commander-in-Chief is President Biden, Vice President, Vice President Harris, Secretary of Defense, Secretary Austin, Secretary of the Navy, Secretary Del Toro, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Gilday, Commander of Naval Education and Training, Rear Admiral Garvin, Commander of Naval Service Training, Rear Admiral Kuntar, Area 8 Manager, Commander Mullen. I will not be going over the SNSI, Senior Naval Science Instructor, the NSI, the Naval Science Instructor, the NJROTC Commanding Officer, Executive Officer, and Senior Enlisted Leader, as those will vary depending on which school you attend. Other key names and titles: Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, Secretary of the Army, Christine Wormuth, Secretary of the Air Force, Frank Kendall, Chief of Staff of the Army, General McConville, Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Berger, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Brown, Chief of Space Operations, General Raymond, Commandant of the Coast Guard, Admiral Schlitz, Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, Master Chief Petty Officer Honia, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps is Sergeant Major Black, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant Bass, Chief Master Sergeant of Space Operations is Chief Master Sergeant Toberman, and Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard is MCPO Jones. 11 General Orders to the Century. First General Orders to the Century is: take charge of this post and all government property in view. The second General Order to the Century is: walk my post in a military manner, keeping always on the alert and observing everything that takes place within sight or hearing. Third General Order to the Century is: report all violations of orders I am instructed to enforce. Fourth General Order to the Century is: repeat all calls from the post more distant from the guardhouse quarterdeck than my own. The fifth General Order to the Century is: quit my post only when properly relieved. The sixth General Order to the Century is: receive, obey, and pass on to the sentry who relieves me all orders from the commanding officer, command duty officer, officer of the deck, and officers and petty officers of the watch only. The seventh General Order to the Century is: talk to no one except in the line of duty. The eighth General Order to the Century is: give the alarm in case of fire or disorder. The ninth General Order to the Century is: call the officer of the deck in any case not covered by instructions. The 10th General Order to the Century is: salute all officers in all colors and standards not cased. The 11th General Order to the Century is: be especially watchful at night and during times of challenging. Challenge all persons on or near my post and allow no one to pass without proper authority. Now, on to the Cadet Creed. The Cadet Creed is: I'm a Navy Junior ROTC cadet. I strive to promote patriotism and become an informed and responsible citizen. I respect those in positions of authority. I support those who defend freedom and democracy around the world. I proudly embrace the Navy Corps values of honor, courage, and commitment. I am committed to excellence and the fair treatment of all. Birthdays of the Navy: 13th of October, 1775. Marine Corps birthday: 10th of November, 1775. Coast Guard birthday: 4th of August, 1790. Motto for the Navy: Semper Fortis, always strong. Motto for Marine Corps: Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Motto for the Coast Guard: Semper Paratus, always ready. Hymns for the Navy: Anchors away. Hymns for the Marine Corps: Marine Corps from the halls of Montezuma. Coast Guard: Semper Paratus. Three elements of the NJROTC patch are the anchor, the USS Constitution, and the Eagle. Now, on to the United States Armed Forces enlisted rank insignias for the Navy. E1 is a seaman recruit and has no insignia. An E2 in the Navy is a seaman apprentice and it has 2 lines. An E3 in the Navy is a seaman and it has 3 lines. An E4 in the Navy is a petty officer 3rd class. It has 1 pointed line and an eagle above it. A E5 in the Navy is a petty officer 2nd class, or PO2, and it has 2 pointed lines under an eagle. A E6 in the Navy is petty officer 1st class, or PO1, and it has 3 lines with a eagle above them. An E7 in the Navy is a chief petty officer, or CPO. The chief petty officer's insignia has 3 lines, a curve above the 3rd line, and an eagle carrying the whole thing. An E8 in the Navy is a senior petty officer, or SCPO. The SCPO has 3 lines, a curved line above the 3rd one that holds them all together that the eagle is carrying, with 1 star above the eagle. An E8 in the Navy is a Master Chief Petty Officer, or an MCPO. The MCPO has 2 stars, an eagle carrying 3 pointed stripes by a curved stripe. The E9 in the Navy is a Command Master Chief Petty Officer, or an FORMC. The Command Master Chief Petty Officer has 3 lines, a star underneath the curved line that the eagle is carrying, and 2 more stars on either side of the eagle. Another E9 in the Navy is Master Chief Petty Officer, or an FLTHC. The Master Chief Petty Officer has 3 lines, a star above those 3 lines, the curved line once again that the eagle is carrying, and 2 stars on either side of the eagle. In the Senior Enlisted Advisor for the Navy is a Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, or an MCPON. The MCPON has 3 stars above an eagle, a curved line that the eagle is carrying, a star underneath that curved line, and 3 pointed lines beneath it. Now on to the rank insignia of the U.S. Armed Forces officers. An O1 in the Navy and Coast Guard is an ensign. An O2 in the Navy and Coast Guard is a lieutenant junior grade. An O3 in the Navy and Coast Guard is a lieutenant. An O4 in the Navy and Coast Guard is a lieutenant commander. An O5 in the Navy and Coast Guard is a commander. An O6 in the Navy and Coast Guard is a captain. An O7 in the Navy and Coast Guard is a rear admiral lower half. An O8 in the Navy/Coast Guard is rear admiral upper half. An O9 in the Navy/Coast Guard is vice admiral. An O10 in the Navy and Coast Guard is admiral. And the special rank for the Navy and Coast Guard is a fleet admiral. That is all the knowledge I can give to y'all for today. I hope y'all enjoyed the video and I hope it helps y'all out. Good luck on inspection, my fellow cadets. Goodbye.